Well, welcome back, everyone. It's Lights, Camera, Action. It's Make Our World Your Runway. You know, this is the weekly show that interviews the most fascinating individuals from the world of modeling, fashion, beauty, business, and even the entertainment industry. And as always, we have a very exciting show planned for you today. We have a wonderful guest in the studio, but of course, we do want to thank the sponsors that do make this show so possible. And that is the Global Trade Chamber, 100 Successful Women in Business, Carlos Albiza Photography, Lux Salon, Queen Beauty Network, the Tower Club, the Royal Dames, and Vida Designs. So sponsors, thank you so much for making this show possible. And we also like to tell our viewers to remember to subscribe to the Global Trade Chamber YouTube channel so that you can see all the shows from Make Our World Your Runway and Success Stories. And I highly recommend that our viewers tune into Success Stories. This show features the most fascinating women from the world of business and community service. And from humble beginnings to successful entrepreneurs, these women will totally inspire you. And get ready for some exciting conferences, speakers, and awards as 100 Successful Women and the Global Trade Chamber are going to come to a city near you. And that city is going to be Miami, Florida, and that is coming up in November. It's going to be a fabulous opportunity for women to shine a light on your achievements. And you can nominate yourself or a colleague for a chance to be honored at the Special Awards Dinner Gala in Miami, which is going to take place at the DoubleTree Hotel. So let's come together to honor the impactful work of women in business and community service. And remember to claim the well-deserved award. Now you need to be present in order to receive this award. So once again, you can nominate yourself or a colleague for the 2025 Reception Award Ceremony. And during those days, there's also going to be networking, conferences, business expo, fashion show, and as always, Make Our World Your Runway will be going live there. Now for all this information, please go to the website at www.100swb.com. Now these shows are free to attend. But if you want to be a speaker and you want to be an exhibitor, you must register now. Take it from me. I have been to all these shows. They're a complete sellout, and especially that this is going to be international. It's not going to be just local people, but people from around the United States and the world. So once again, remember to go to the website, www.100swb.com for all the information and register today. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to introduce our guest, but we'd like to tell you a little bit about her. She is a visionary behind Protransparency Consulting, which focuses on providing transparent solutions tailored for small business owners and investors. Originally from Brazil, she moved to Florida at the age of 25, driven by a desire for a better life. Her academy background, along with experiences as a young woman navigating the corporate landscape, inspired her commitment to integrity and empowerment. So ladies and gentlemen, what I'd like to do today, and she could tell you more about her business, let's welcome Debora Rodrigues to Make Our World Your Runway. Debora, welcome.
Thank you so much, Angela. I'm so thrilled to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
Oh, my pleasure. Tell us about your business, because it's what I'm looking at here, it's very, very interesting, okay? And I think there's a lot of people that need to have a business like this, because as you said, when they're doing a startup company, so many people don't really know where to go. So tell us what you do and how you guide people and all your expertise.
Very good. Thank you so much. Once again, my name is Debora Rodrigues. I'm the owner and founder of Protransparency. My mission statement is give to the business owners financial clarity, which is providing monthly bookkeeping. With that, they will have reporting, financial report every month, and they will be able to succeed in their business. That's my mission statement, but that's not only something that I offer my clients. I use it for my own business, and I use for myself. So it's not just a talk. It's what I believe 100%.
Yeah, and like I said before, you know, this is so important because there's so many people out there that just don't have a clue when they're starting their own business. But what got me, I was looking at something, and you got to clarify this. What is book cleanup?
Yes.
I love looking at that, book cleanup,
Yes. So book cleanups is for clients that have their financial records very not in order, not in good order, let's per se, right? They don't know where to find it, they don't know even where to begin, where to get from. And come by the end of the year, the CPA is already asking them, I need your financial records. You know what? You're gonna have to put everything in order. You're gonna have to create a system, accounting system, and clean up your books. So it's a project that instead of doing the whole entire year, we deliver in 3 months. So
Right.
with that, you can have your records ready for your CPA.
Oh, yeah, that's the most, because I've got an accountant that always tells me, okay, what have you got this year? And it's funny because when I went to her this past year, she said to me, she said, you got to spend more money. I said, wait a minute, spend more money. I said, I thought it was in reverse, that if, you know, that if whatever money I was taking in, I always show that I can pay bills, because one thing I did learn with the IRS, if you're taking money in, but you're showing that you're paying your bills, okay, then you can take the loss, all right? Now I understand it's a little bit in reverse because some of the laws have changed. She said, you got to spend more money. I said, but how am I going to justify the loss? She said, I'm going to show you how you're going to do that. I'm like, uh-oh, now I got to learn something new.
Exactly.
So what I would do is, if I had a bill, I'm just going to use a number that would say $11.90. Well, I always have learned rounding off, so I put down 12. No, from now on, you got to start doing this. I said, why? She said, they don't like to see exact numbers. I said, you got to be kidding me. I said, that was last year. She said, don't go by last year. She said, they change rules and laws while you sleep. I said, now I understand what book cleanup is.
Exactly.
So she's saying the same thing.
Exactly. You have to clean up your books. You have to make sure things are in order for tax, you know.
Yeah.
Once tax come, you should have your books ready.
Exactly. I know, because I didn't realize that things had actually changed. What she had told me now is totally different this year. Okay, and I was like, geez. I said, you're right. They do change things.
Yes, IRS always comes with new rules and new things at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, beginning, you can't do this, and you can't do that, and you
Yes.
can't do this. And, okay, now it's spend more money, and it's like, and all of a sudden, it used to be that if they felt you weren't, it was like a hobby, they could shut you down, okay? But now it's like going in reverse, okay? Yeah, you can take the loss, just spend more money. I'm like, okay. I said, if you're telling me that, you give me the green light. I said, I could definitely spend more money.
Exactly.
I
That's
was
the
being
point.
conservative. I was trying to pull back, you know. But this is good information for our viewers to know, because, again, there are so many people out there, okay, that really don't know much about, not even this, about certain things. It's a funny thing. I have a friend of mine that works in a funeral home. And he said, you're not going to believe this. He said, there's a lot of people out there that do not have life insurance policies. I said, wait a minute. Hold it. I said, you could call Colonial Penn and even get a small. He said, Angela, he said, I have a lot of people that come here. He says, and we're sitting here for hours because their loved ones do not know how to pay the bill.
Yeah.
He said, they have not. He said, it cost me, he says, see that out there? He says, it cost me $11,000 just to open up the grave. I said, wait a minute. He said, oh yeah. He's 11,000. He says, by the time you get done, you're in the 40s and 50,000s. I said, geez. And that's why today they're telling people, have those policies, pay them, take them out when you're very young, which my husband and I did,
Yeah,
which
that's
has a
good.
cash back
Mhm.
value. That at a certain time you can actually cash them in and prepay your
Things
funeral.
they needed, yes.
And it's done. Okay.
And not only that, financial education goes a long way for individuals, right,
Right.
as a personal, but also for business, right? If you run your own business, you need to financially educate yourself. You need to know your revenue, you need to know your costs, you need to be profit oriented, so you know where you can take your business to the next level.
Exactly.
And most small business, they run many tasks. They're busy. They don't have maybe the staff to help them, and they don't have the skills. That's when I come in and I offer that, because I am on the budget. So I have a team work for me, and with that we can assess your book, see, things that you lack, because sometimes a small business, they lack on things, right?
Yes, they do.
On the daily operation, and that's why we give support. We not only give support for payroll and HR, but we give support for vendors, which yours expenses, for accounts receivable, which is your clients.
Clients, right.
nevertheless, but your clients and your vendors are your cash flow. It's money coming in, money is coming out.
Right.
So
Exactly.
you have to make sure you have someone behind controlling that, and make sure that person also create a strong relationship with both vendors and clients. Why? Because clients need to be engaged nowadays.
Oh yeah, clients definitely need to be
Yeah.
engaged. And the funniest thing is that, I have a financial advisor. I've known him when he worked for a Wells Fargo bank. He used to be the manager there, and then he went out on his own. And he was actually telling my husband and I that banks are not what they used to be, okay? And he always told me, before you do anything, just like you said, you brought up a key point here, educate yourself. Always go out and find out what is going on out there, okay? Because if you don't know, and my husband always says that, if you don't know, no one tells you, and you could fall into a trap.
Yeah.
And that's something you don't want to fall into, okay? So you do have to educate yourself on that, yes. And that's why my husband and I, every time we do something, we try to find out, try to gather information and find out which is the best route to go.
Exactly. Information is value. It has
Oh,
a
yes.
value behind. If you don't have the resource, look for one. If you are, trying to open a business, make sure you gather yourself with, a team behind you, people that really is going to help you to take your business to the next phase, because that's important. Nowadays, it's very difficult to find good employees.
Oh, yes.
But
yes.
also to have, to keep your employees, you need to let them know what your company is about, right?
That's it.
You
yes.
have to implement clear policies that they can follow. They can understand what's your target, things that you want for the future of the corporation.
Right.
So all that has to be implemented, and that's also the support that I give for business owners.
Right,
To
exactly.
implement policy, procedure, internal controls, which is a must. It's very important. I
Yes.
can't stress that enough.
Yeah, and consistency. See, for instance, when the IRS looks at my business information, they know the type of business that I have, and they see that I'm consistent, especially when I put on the pageant. We have flowers, we have entertainment, there's the crowns, there's the sashes. So every year I'm consistent in what I'm doing, okay? And like my accountant said, unless you get if they start seeing that you brought in $500,000, now the red flags are gonna go up. She
We
said,
have a
but the,
jet.
right,
Yes.
she said, but the way you're doing it, she said, is perfect because you're consistent. And now an accountant that I had in New Jersey, I said to him, I said, well, sometimes I'll finance my own business. He said, that's all right. He said, if you take it out of your personal account, but you're putting it into your business account, they don't have a problem with that. He said, you could finance your own business. He said, if you're paying a bill from your account to your business, they'll want to know why. So now sometimes things like that happen. He said, but if you want to finance your own company and you're taking money from your personal account but putting it into the business account, that's justifiable. He said, you don't like to make a habit of it, but it is justifiable.
It
Yeah.
is, yes. You cannot, commingle money
Right.
from your personal account into the business, because then you're going to be on the wrong way of doing things.
Exactly, because then
Yes.
they're going to ask, where did you get this from?
Yes,
Okay?
exactly.
Where did you get that
Exactly.
from? So like he said, it's, as long as you keep it consistent, he said, we can justify it. He said, but there's so many people out there that do not do that.
Yes, because they don't know sometimes.
don't know, yeah.
Yes, they don't know. So that's important, again, to have someone that you explain. I know most of, the first stop shop is to hire a CPA, but some CPAs don't offer advisory,
No.
or consultation. So make sure you have yourself someone that do offer that, and that's something that I offer on my own business, because I think it's important for business owners to be educated what they're gonna
Right.
get. And with numbers, with real results, they can strategize, and predict their future.
Right.
And if they don't have that visual, it's gonna be very hard for them to make decisions.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. See, and what I like it with your business, which a lot of people do not do, like you just explained, book cleanup, monthly bookkeeping for complex clients, ongoing maintenance of financial records, which is extremely important, payroll, accounts receivable and collections, and business incorporation. That's another thing, okay? There's so many people that want to start a business but do not know how to incorporate, okay? I mean, all my businesses are LLCs, okay? I had an attorney that did it. I mean, I could have gone online and do it, but then again, you make a mistake if you don't know what you're doing, and yeah, you might have to pay an attorney, or may have to pay somebody like yourself that has a business, but at least you know you're going to get it done correctly.
Exactly. And by standards also, you're gonna follow all the procedures, everything that needs to open a business. So we open new business, but not only that, we can help you find an established business through
Wow.
real estate. So if you're trying to acquire a new business, it's something that we can do that for you as well. Because yes, I am a licensed realtor, and I deal with a lot of commercial real estate. And people say, why is that? Because commercial real estate is a business.
It is.
Most of the time, you're gonna purchase a building or a big property, and you're gonna put under a LLC. So
Right.
you need to understand the things behind. You need to understand the numbers. If the building are generating the profit that, the investor wants. So I have all that, experience in my belt, so I be able to offer not only to my clients, but investors and other business. So it's very
Exactly,
important.
exactly. And, there's a lot of people that don't understand if you should go a full corporation or an LLC. LLC is limited liability, so if someone sues you, they got to sue the company and cannot come after you, okay? And that's why for years I've kept my husband, especially when he worked in New York City and he had that big salary, we kept him off the business because my accountant said to me, if they can't get it from the company and he's on there and they know he's making that kind of salary, they'll try to sue him personally. He said, who owns most of it? I said, he does. He said, you don't want him going after those assets. He said,
Exactly.
Yeah, so a lot of people don't know that.
They don't know the difference between LLCs and a C corporation.
C corporation, yes.
Which you pay double taxes. Why they say C corporation, you pay double tax? Because the corporation is paying full tax.
Right.
And the owner is also paying taxes.
About paying taxes,
So
exactly.
LLC, most of here in Florida, we incorporate LLC, but sometimes it's not good for your purpose.
Right.
We have to come in and, have a free consultation and see what exactly you're trying to accomplish. There is a corporation out there for each one of them.
Exactly.
So we
And-
just have to make sure it's the correct one.
And what a lot of people also don't know, okay, all right, I have my business, my husband still works, especially when he was working in New York City. I was able to write off a lot more because of the type of salary that he was making. Because a lot of people think, well, I'm just gonna write this off and write that off. No, you can only be a percentage of what you're bringing in, and a lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, you can write things off, and my business does help when we go to Fontana, but when he was in New York, and you're talking about a $200,000 a year salary, and what you can, then you can write things off, okay?
Exactly.
Because look at the type of money that was coming in, okay? I mean, my accountant one year got us a return, and I almost passed out. He got us a $10,000 return. I was like, wait a minute.
Is that right?
I said,
Right.
yeah, I even said to him that he was great, and I questioned it. And it was so funny, and I think he's the one that turned my head around. I went in there one day, I said, I don't believe this. And I'm looking at my husband's W-2. I said, he's paying federal tax, state tax, city tax. And he says, hold on a minute. He said, I'm going to explain something to you. You complaining? He says, don't complain. Look at the salary your husband's making. He says, that's number one. He says, number two, I hope you never get in a position one day where you're going to need disability because you wouldn't want to pay into the system. He said, so the next time you come into my office, I don't want to hear you complain. He said, evidently, you didn't know all this. And he was right. Again, like you said, I wasn't educated.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he was 100% correct because when I broke my leg and I had to go on disability,
Yeah.
now when I got out of that office that day, I had a whole different perspective on things in life because he told me, he said, I've got people that come into this office don't even have half of what you have. He said, and there's a thing called the haves versus the have-nots. Don't become, because you're a have. Look at the people that don't have.
Yeah.
He was 100% correct.
Yeah.
And from that point on, I respected everyone out there. And till this day, I can't believe the people that just don't make a lot. and have to rely on food banks and things like that, and cannot even start a business.
Exactly. So you have to, again, to be educated, you
Yes.
need to get the information for someone that really knows what's going to be good for you and good for what you're trying to accomplish. Because, there is rules, but the rules does not apply for everyone.
No, the rules do not apply for
Yeah.
everybody. And it's unfortunate, the more you make, the more you can write off.
Yeah.
It's like somebody going to the bank and they've got thousands of dollars in there and the tellers know it. They'll take you first, and the poor person that's trying to cash a $20 or $100 check doesn't have much money, gets hit with all the fees. And my husband used to say that. He says, wait a minute. He said, why would you charge those people fees if they don't have much money? But meanwhile, if you put
Yeah,
40,
if you
50,000
keep
in
the
a bank
average,
account,
yeah.
you get away with everything. It's one of these days it's going to change, but unfortunately, that's the way the system is set up. But anyway, we've got about 5 minutes left. What would you like to tell our viewers?
Well, that I am accepting new clients, so I'm here today, and thank you, Angela. I can't thank you enough.
No, glad you're here.
Yes, so I can help you anything that you want, business incorporation, payroll, create policies for your company, because I think it's needed. What I provide is financial clarity, which is a peace of mind when you run your business. I know that because I run my own business. So I be able to help on those things. And that's my passion. What I do, it's what I love to do. I have been doing for many, many years. And if you need help, please reach out.
Oh, that's great. Tell our viewers where they can find you.
They can find me on the website, www.protransparency.com, via WhatsApp. And I have a LinkedIn account as well, Debora Rodrigues.
Oh, fantastic, yes, because we put the show on LinkedIn. But anyway, Deborah, I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us today. This is such pertinent information that our viewers, even myself, no matter how long you're in business, okay, there's always something new. So ladies and gentlemen, you got some great information out there today. And I hope that all my viewers, and even especially my pageant ladies that want to start businesses or even in the modeling businesses, please take heed to what she is saying, because things do change on a daily basis. But once again, we want to thank everyone for tuning in to Make Our World Your Runway. And as always, stay tuned next week when we always will bring you another fascinating show. So thank you once again, and we'll see you soon.